In linguistics, heterography is a property of a written language, such that it lacks a one-to-one correspondence between the written symbols and the sounds of the spoken language. Its opposite is homography, which is the property of a language such that written symbols of its written form and the sounds of its spoken form have a one-to-one correspondence. The orthography of the English language is, according to Larry Trask, a spectacular example of heterography, but most European languages exhibit it to some extent. Finnish is very close to being a systematically homographic language. A phonemic transcription is by its nature homographic also. The degree of heterography of a language is a factor in how difficult it is for a person to learn to read that language, with highly heterographic orthographies being more difficult to learn than more homographic ones. Many people have espoused the point of view that the extreme heterographic nature of English is a disadvantage in several respects. These include, for example, dry, Kiyoshi Mokita writing in the July 1968 issue of the American Journal of Orthopsychiatry, who attributes the rarity of dyslexia amongst Japanese children to the fact that Japanese is highly homographic language. Types. Confusion between heterographic homophonic words such as peace and peace is one of the symptoms of surface dyslexia, a form of dyslexia causing error when a word's spelling is not perceived to be in accord with pronunciation rules. Other homophonic heterographs in English include I, and I, write, and write, read, and there and there. In French, examples include saint and saint. Heterographs are especially problematic for written communication, in that spelling errors due to the typist choosing the wrong member of a heterograph set will persist into the final document, even after spell checking. This is because heterographs cannot be caught by a simple spell checker, which only inspects the word itself and not the context it is in. Heterophonic homographs are, in contrast, words whose spoken sounds differ but whose written forms are the same. English has a few hundred heterophonic homographs. Examples of these latter include re, the two aforementioned classes of words, along with a third class of the three classes of lexical ambiguities in all languages. Heterophonic heterographs are words spelled differently and pronounced differently, consisting of all words outside of the other three classes. In other languages, Chinese has many words that are both homophonic and homotonic. Distinctions are made between such words using heterography. Homophonic heterographs are very frequent in Chinese, whereas heterophonic homographs are not. In contrast, homographic heterophony is one of the most salient characteristics of English orthography, with the or in, though, tough, through, thought, bow, cough, and do being homographic but greatly heterophonic. French is heterographic to some extent, whilst it, too, has homographic heterophony, such as the ARS in Mars, jars, and gars. Its most prominent irregularity is heterographic, namely heterographic homophony. Witness, for example, the identical pronunciation of eng, empt, amp, and ans in parang, champ, exempt, and dans.